folks, we'll start the interview. Folks, I've got with me a very distinguished blues slash soul singer, performer, mother, and very astounding individual. After doing some research, I discovered that she lost her. You lost. You're an incredible woman because the whole thing that was made available, you lost your hearing at the age of 5. You had to
Yep.
undergo a surgery to get it back.
Yeah.
The story was that you were listening to the
Aretha
tunes.
Franklin.
Yeah, and is it because you actually enjoyed listening it on the speaker, or was it because you were already suffering from hearing damage at that point?
No, I didn't even know I was suffering from hearing damage yet. Like whenever my mother played music, I would just lie down on the rug and put my ear to the speaker, whatever was playing. But when Aretha was playing, I literally glued my ear to the speaker until she blew up my eardrum. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then you had to undergo surgery to actually
Yeah.
repair and get your hearing back.
Yeah.
You have been here and there. You you were born in Montreal.
Yeah.
You moved to Ontario at one point.
When I was 10.
Yeah, and then due to, I think it was a family tragedy, if I read it correctly, you came down to Nova Scotia and relocated there for a period of time.
Yeah.
Sadly, underwent a very traumatizing event in regards to an employer that decided to put you under their heel in
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
nasty way.
Yeah.
And then after that, you went back to Ontario.
No, I went to
Oh,
Newfoundland after that.
oh, you went to Newfoundland. Okay.
Yeah. I lived in Newfoundland for 6 months. Yeah.
Because I know at one point your career brought you into a correctional officer position
Yeah.
and a reservist with the Canadian Army.
Yep. Correct.
So with everything that you've done, you're now relocated back in Ontario, from what I read.
That's correct. Yes. I live here in Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay. So I mean, with everything that you've been doing, I don't even know where to start the question. Let's start with everything that you've actually done. Apart from singing,
Okay.
because that's pretty much what you're focused on. Do you play any musical instruments at all in the current band format, or with the ska band that you actually started?
I play the congas because I used to play the drums for an all-female reggae band back in the 90s.
Hmm.
And singing, I used to play and sing, but then I found myself like I've always been a front person. So I put the congos in the front and I would play and lead the band.
Yeah, and after that, you eventually went back into music after you had to do some shifting around.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that you actually also starred and won 2 gold medals for Canada in weightlifting.
3 gold medals.
3.
Yeah.
Well, you see, folks, this is the caliber of quality that I'm dealing with, and I feel so small.
Jeez, thanks, Yannick. Wow.
Well, it's the new album, which is Garnetta Cromwell. You're not alone, because there's I'm trying to remember. There's Garnetta Cromwell that's on the name. Here's the
Yeah, Time to Shine,
Time to
Garnetta
Shine.
Cromwell, and the Groove Masters. So the Groove Masters, when you open up the actual CD,
Hmm.
inside it introduces a lot. Does the credits and who's on there. But the Groove Masters is my band. They're right at the top, and they're all listed there. There's actually
Should
6 of us all together.
Yeah, I have it right here. See, here's the official CD.
Yep, correct. Right.
And as she mentions, there are some well-known people, such as Ken Whiteley, which,
Yeah, my producer.
yeah, and also playing the electric guitar, the Hammond organ, and the harmony vocals.
Yep.
Keisha Wint.
Yeah, Keisha Wint. Her and
Uh,
Selena Evangeline, they're well known. They all have their own music out, but they have graced the studio and decide to do background vocals for me.
We also have Rebecca Hennessy, Colleen Allen, Carrie Chestnut, and Elena Capellaris.
Capillaris, yep.
It was produced by Ken Whiteley, and it was done over at the Castle Roxton studio in May 2023. The album came out the 8th
Of
of
September.
September, which means that you actually went under the requirement for any nominations for the Maple Blues. Now, when did you start the album? Because basically, based on what I'm reading and what I know now, is that you probably did a lot of it in studio.
We did all of it in studio. Actually, it was live off the floor.
Okay.
So I did all of it in the studio. So it was Ken Whiteley studio, and it's called Castle Roxton.
Yeah.
And it's in Toronto. Yeah. So we started recording in March, April, around late April, May, early May.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really finish everything, and that includes the design, the jackets for the CD, the whole 9 yards, kit and caboodle. I didn't finish that till like the end of July.
The end of July, but everything was then mixed and mastered and made available after for September release.
You got it.
Now, from what I've seen, you've been touring quite a lot, playing events. You were part of the Women's Blues Review in 2023. You were invited again for, I think it was a 37th or 38th. I can't remember which one.
So I sang at Mascot for the 35th Women's Blues Review, which was last year, 2022, in November. And then I was invited back again just this past November, 2023, for the 36th Annual Women's Blues Review at Mascot.
And you also participated in other events where you were touring the album since it was released in September.
Yes, that's correct. So we had a Western tour, so out west. So we hit Calgary, and then we went to Calgary International Festival, Blues Festival. We hit Nanaimo's Blues Festival. We hit Salmon Arms. Unfortunately, as we all know, Salmon Arms, was almost burning up the time the festival was taking place, so they had to cancel that. Because literally you can see the ashes falling from the sky. Their neighboring town, I think it was Kelowna, that was on fire, and it was coming very close. So even though we were there, like we were always, once we got there, we drove around out west to our destinations for our tours. And we weren't sure we were going to make it because of the fires, but it seems like we were always ahead of the fires, thank goodness. So after Salmon Arms was canceled, then we had to head all the way over to Bear River. Bear Creek Folk Festival. Bear River. I'm getting mixed up with Nova Scotia.
That's okay.
The county. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh.
So I also have. We'll come back to Nova Scotia in a few moments, but you also, your band and you also qualified for the International Memphis Blues Challenge and made it as finalists. How was that for you?
That was we were there last year, January. Oh my goodness, that was such a fantastic experience. Of course, I was in Memphis, and we all know that's the birthplace of Aretha Franklin. Soulville. So yeah, and it was great. It was a great experience. I got to listen to tons and tons of fantastic bands and musicians and singers, and met lots of people, did lots of networking, and this is our first time doing it, and we got really good feedback. I mean, the locals just loved us, and I felt like I was home when I was walking down Bill Street.
Now, you made it to the finals, which means that you were facing off against who at that point?
No, we didn't make it to the finals. Not for the International Blues Challenge. No, we didn't make it to the finals. Okay, no, what happened was my bass player had a family emergency, so he couldn't come. So I had to find a bass player quick, and thank goodness the keyboard player that I hired to take with me played the bass as well. Oh, okay. But of course, he didn't play the bass as well as my bass player would play. But I mean, I'm still grateful that he came and he helped us out. But we got a lot of good feedback. Regardless, we did get to the semifinals.
Ah, okay. Well, that's an achievement in and of itself, and I'm happy that you actually had that experience, and I hope that we see you doing it again in the coming year.
That would be great. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You know, like I'm welcoming 2024 with such open arms. Like last year was open arms like this. This year it's wide open, just like that. So I'm really
So,
looking forward to it.
when you relocated to Nova Scotia, how long were you in the Maritimes?
So I left Ontario in 2004,
Hmm.
and I stayed there until 2000. Well, I was in Nova Scotia. I stayed there for 2016,
Okay,
and then
and then 6 months in
yeah, and so I went to Newfoundland in May, April, May, June, May of 2016,
Mhm.
and I stayed there until November of 2016.
Wow. And then you
And
decided to
then
do
and then
the
I came
move.
back to Ontario because I have family here. Like after my mother, so my mother passed away in 2012, and well, I have found it hard up there. Like most of my family's here in Ontario, like all my
Mhm.
sisters, and my oldest son was here in Ontario as well. I have three kids, so the other two with me, of course. But I guess I just missed Ontario after after dealing with Nova Scotia there, and then Newfoundland. It was also when I was in Newfoundland, there was a little tiny town called Fortune, Newfoundland. You ever hear
Mhm.
that? It's a fishing village. Very
I pro-
tiny. I'm telling you.
uh, probably passed it when I was 15 or 16. My parents decided that since my mother was studying her master's, they decided, well, let's go to Newfoundland. So the whole family, we took a ferry, went to the north of Newfoundland
Yeah.
crossing, and then went down all the way to St. John's, where she was doing or finalizing her master's for about a month. I think we stayed at Grossmore National Park, where they had some camping.
I don't know that much about Newfoundland.
Well, there's a natural park there's a park. I'm trying to remember the proper name. I don't think it's Grossmore, but they have an actual national park
Okay.
that the federal government decided to put into their flyers and their
Oh wow. Okay.
publicity and
Yeah.
everything. It's the same thing as Fundy National Park. It's a national park that you can actually either camp with services if you've got a camper or
Okay.
a motorized vehicle,
Yep. 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 So
or if
it's
you,
almost it's a camping place. So it'd be somewhere like how Algonquin Park is down here.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Right on.
It's so that was my experience. I don't remember half of the towns that I went. All I know is that the colors, the sheep.
Oh,
While we were driving in the dark, it looked like trash bags that people left because they were collecting and picking up and cleaning. But the
wow.
day when the sun came up, we saw that it wasn't trash bags; it was actually sheep. So that was my experience in
Wow.
Newfoundland.
Wow. That's
uh,
all I can say. Wow.
yeah. So now that you're doing this, any plans with your new album in the coming next months for 2024?
Well, we have a show. We're showcasing at the Blues Summit 11,
Mhm.
which is going to be great. We've been nominated for Maple Blues Award for new artist, new group. So and right now my booking agent, he's out west, I think in Alberta. He's doing up. I don't know what he's doing right now, but I have to wait for him to come back, just so he can, see what's my plan for this summertime. But as it stands right now, we want to do some more touring outside of Canada, like the U.S. or even to
Europe.
Europe. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and hope that once I get to this Blue Summit that we do so well that the Europeans want me there very badly.
Well, I think they will.
I hope so.
One thing is that most European countries have a voracious appetite when it comes to blues talent from Canada.
That's good.
So much so that some of the bands have been going out, coming in, coming out, coming in, and
That's what I want to do, Yannick.
yeah,
Exactly
the
what I want to do.
well, that's what I think is going to happen. I have a certain premonition that that's what's going to be happening. You're going to be going for a few weeks and then coming back with joyful experiences.
Yeah.
Now, as a woman and a fabulous human being, uh,
Well, thank you.
you're everything and but almost we can call you Wonder Woman at this point because of everything that you went through.
My goodness.
But uh, as a human being,
Right.
because you have the singer persona of yourself and the mother of two and sister of many. What would you be doing as a hobby, if anything? Because I mean, singing is fun, but you must have something else that drives your passions in a different direction once in a while.
I like to work out. To be honest, I do. I feel so good when I work out. So every morning I get up and I walk at least 5 kilometers before I start my day. Uh,
Mhm.
and then on the weekend I will do some strength training, just to keep myself in shape, looking good, keeping the vocals very well tuned. Um, and I like to I actually like traveling. Like, I mean, if I can go to certain places and just check out other cities, other countries, and hanging out with the locals, and I
Mhm.
learned so much from that, and it allows me to appreciate so much more for what I have here in regards to what they don't have down there. So so I like to work out. I like sports to begin with, and I'm hoping that I can go and see the world because I really do love to travel. Even if I wasn't singing in it, even if I wasn't singing, I would make it a point to go out to, I would go visit a certain, different countries, and actually really really enjoy that.
I can imagine many people do that just for the fact of wanting to travel. They don't sit still for a long time.
Yeah, no.
Uh, Now, the last question I have is going to be an oddball one, but I've been asking it to everyone.
Okay.
What's your favorite food dish?
Hmm. Wow. Okay, my favorite food dish. I just want to say this first before I answer. I can eat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that girl you'll take over dinner and you think that I'm gonna order salad. That's just the appetizer, child. So, what is my favorite food? Well, I like so much. I'm gonna have to. I like West Indian cuisine. I like curry goat. I love roti. I love Chinese food too. So I don't know. I can't pick.
Is there one that you particularly have more than once in a month?
Let me see.
That would be the only way that anyone can narrow it down. Most people it's
Okay,
sushi, but
I love sushi too. See now, okay. I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna stick with the Caribbean food. I would love to have either oxtail or curry goat or roti or whatever, once a month, something like that once a month. I really do like West Indian cuisine.
okay. Well, that settles it, folks. We've had the pleasure of having this wonderfully joyful woman on this particular interview session. Garnetta, it was a tremendous pleasure of having you, and hopefully we'll have you again in the Maritimes doing a tour.
Now that's also I'm looking forward to even my home. Like, I mean, Digby County. My mom's originally from Cumberland County, Amherst, Nova Scotia. My father's originally from Digby County, so I need to get down to Nova Scotia to do a tour. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so
folks,
much, Yannick.
Oh, you're very much
And it's
welcome.
been a pleasure meeting you. And thank you so much for reaching out. And I totally appreciate you.
Oh, you're very much welcome.